Another thing I have to explain to clients is that just because I don't have an emotion about what is going on in your case doesn't mean that I don't care about it.
Right.
My job is not to be emotional. As soon as the emotions come into play, I'm not doing my job. Because now I'm not paying attention to what I need to pay attention to. I'm having feelings. And it doesn't mean I don't empathize. It just means that I'm here to do a job and I'm here to do it well.
Welcome back, guys, to Cases and Cocktails. This is episode 36. I'm here again with my beautiful wife, Janice. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, baby?
Good. Missed you.
Where'd you go?
We only hang out during this time.
Okay.
That's what everyone
We don't
thinks.
live together, work together, all that stuff. No.
This is it.
Okay.
We're gonna talk a little bit today about some comments that we got. Are you good with that?
Yeah. We did an episode, I think 10 episodes ago.
Yeah.
About parental interference. And there were a lot of comments. I guess we had some hot sports opinions.
We'll talk a little bit about those. But to do that, we'll have to have a cocktail.
Yeah, for sure.
What are we going to do today?
This one's an Italian Margarita. It's Tesoro Reposado, lime juice, orange juice, and amaretto.
Nice. Italian. Is it the amaretto that makes it Italian?
I think that would be the only thing, probably. I don't know.
Can we go to Olive Garden after this?
You can.
I can do that.
It's like a breakfast drink.
It's kind of like a screwdriver with a little twist to it.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. When's the last time you had a screwdriver? Been a while.
Never? It's just orange juice and vodka?
Orange juice and tequila. No?
I don't
vodka.
think so.
Maybe I just put tequila
for everything.
That's fair. That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. Episode 25 was here on Cases Cocktails. That was an episode about parental interference. We talked a little bit about that. Had a lot of comments.
I feel like a lot of what we said was factual, but of course people are emotional about the topic. So we're going to go through some of the comments and talk about those.
But I'll say this though. That's the thing though, right? With what we do, right? And it happens all the time where we have we talk a little about people that we talk about with clients anyways. It's, are we using rationale and logic or are we using emotions and feelings? And one of those is rational and logical. The other is irrational and illogical.
Well, and it's kind of what we're there for, right? So I tell clients when we do consults and stuff, they talk about how stressful it is, if they're going through divorce, to collect all the financials and to deal with the emotional piece of it and prepare for litigation. Well, having an attorney represent you gives you the bandwidth to be able to go have the emotions.
Yeah.
And then we get to go and litigate. Yeah. Another thing I have to explain to clients is that just because I don't have an emotion about what is going on in your case doesn't mean that I don't care about it.
Right.
My job is not to be emotional. As soon as the emotions come into play, I'm not doing my job because now I'm not paying attention to what I need to pay attention to. I'm having feelings. And it doesn't mean I don't empathize. It just means that I'm here to do a job and I'm here to do it well.
Right. No, I agree. I think that oftentimes, a lot of people, because it is the most important thing, divorce, child custody case, whatever it is, most important thing going on in that person's life at that time, can't undersell that, right? Or minimize that.
No.
And so we get that, understand that, we deal with that, but our job is to sort of help the clients navigate kind of where they're going and, what's going on and help them manage those emotions, but get them back on track to doing what we're doing. No one's managing the comments though.
No, apparently just anyone gets to go on the internet and say whatever they want, regardless of how right I am.
Regardless of how right you are. All right, there you go. That's fair.
Which is fine. But now we get to talk about that too.
There you go.
So
there you go.
Okay. So it starts out well. It starts with.
There's one comment in there that says she is right, and I think you framed
I've printed it. It's in my office.
Yeah, I was going to say you framed that one. So there you go. That's fantastic. Thank you, internet. By the way, I never lived that one down.
So it starts with, if you're doing anything other than vocally encouraging a positive relationship with the other parent, then you're engaging in parental alienation. I think that is probably not what we said.
It's not what we said, but I'll say that I think the purpose behind that statement is to say that, it could be parental alienation, right? It's not technically parental alienation, right? It's a buzzword. It's a thing that people throw around, but there's, I think just by not engaging in positive vocal encouragement, I think is what that said. By the way, you don't positively encourage me very, very much. So it's pretty rough. Maybe you're alienating me. Maybe that's the thing. No.
You're not a child.
Oh,
So
interestingly enough,
you call your dad. He's going to be he's there to encourage you. Okay.
that's fair.
If my child says something happened over at his dad's house, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to validate them and get to the bottom of it. And as a mom, I hear that, right? Like, I get it. If your kid is saying that something happened over there, you're going to investigate that. But that's not what we were talking about. What we were talking about is if you are doing something to discourage your child from going to the other parent's home during the other parent's period of possession, which also people are pissed off that I use the words period of possession, but we'll get into that next. That is interference. If there's a valid reason, if something's going on, there are remedies for that.
Right.
But here's the thing, guys, and I'm just going to say it. You couldn't co-parent well enough to make decisions for your kids that you had to go to court and get a court order where a judge decided what the judge determined after a 2-hour or 2-week hearing is in the best interest of your kids. And so that's the order that we have to go by. You don't now get to turn around and unilaterally say, oh, everyone was wrong. I actually make the best decisions for my kid. Right. I'm going to violate this order and do what I want. Right. That's not how it works. You don't get to take the law into your own hands.
No, I tell clients all the time, because you and I talk about, we say, hey, look, it's always in the best interest of the kids for the parents if they can figure it out.
Right.
But that's a silly sort of concept, because you have two parents who are holding themselves out in public and they're like, hey, we can't figure this out, and so we need paperwork to sort of make sure we can do this and give the parameters of how we're going to manage this, the kids, and then oftentimes, whether in order to get that document, right, that custody order, or even inside that custody order, we say, okay, hey, mom and dad, for invasive medical procedures, we want the two of y'all just talk about it and agree.
Right, by agreement,
right.
Sure.
These two individuals that have hired lawyers. So it's sort of a silly thing, but it is always best when they can do that, right? But
when you can't.
But here's the thing, though. But one parent doesn't just get to say, okay, automatically, I'm going to do this, right? Regardless of this court order, I'm going to do that.
And that cuts both ways.
Right.
So you shouldn't be upset by that. You should feel relief, especially if you think the other side isn't making the best decisions, because the court order prevents both of you
right.
from going in and dictating what's going to happen if there's not an agreement.
Yeah, apparently the words periods of possession were offensive to somebody.
So in here it said that basically those words are disgusting, or the fact that we termed it that way.
I mean,
I would like to start by saying I didn't term it that way. They're words in the code. They're in the book that we use, and they are the legal jargon.
Right.
And though this is not a legal advice podcast,
right.
I'm a lawyer, and so I can't,
well,
like everyone else
right.
can't peel their emotions away.
Right.
I can't peel the lawyer off.
Right. Well, the problem is like you said, that term was sort of done a long time ago, long before you and I came along. Second of all, what do you want to call it?
What do you
want to call it? What do you want to call it? You want to call it special time with little Johnny and Susie? And I'm not trying to be an ass. I get it, right? And I understand what the purpose of that is the word possession gives a connotation that you own the child or whatever it is and all that good stuff. But really, you can't get over it? Like, that's it? Like that's your thing today?
That's the trigger.
Okay, I get it. And hey, maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Also, if we get divorced, you can have most of the periods of possession. Like, I
Well,
want fun time
I
weekends. I'll pay
appreciate
double
that.
child
I
support.
appreciate
It'll be
that.
great.
I appreciate that. I'll say this too. I think that, there have been instances too where I've had clients, they wanted things worded a certain way or done a certain way. And I think for the most part that can be done, right? So I think effectuating someone that has an issue with a certain phrase or whatever it is, that can be done. But a little bit of forest for trees, guys, right? Like, we're not talking about these terms, and if just the words are problematic, the implementation of what we're doing, right? The actual effectuating
Getting into
of the
the
words,
meat of it,
right?
yeah.
That's probably going to be really fucking problematic for you. I'm just saying, like, because that word possession or period of possession that's just a term. That's a word. Those are some letters, a couple of crooked letters, right? Like Mississippi in there. By the way,
Yes.
do people still say that?
No,
Do
just
kids still do like 7 Mississippi or something like that?
just dads.
Just old dads like me and
Don't name any.
there you go.
Don't do it.
I don't have jean shorts, by the way. I don't have that. Right? I can just see
Well,
Peyton.
not yet.
All right. I just see Peyton Manning and Post Malone in jean shorts and Bud Light commercials. All I see. So.
Can't drink beer in a beer commercial.
You can drink booze on a podcast.
Yes.
Is that what I get to do?
Yes.
Fair.
So we've got another comment that says too many court-appointed people and lawyers downplay abuse and toxic agreements, claiming best interest. And while I don't necessarily disagree with some of that, I don't know how that's relevant to interference because we weren't talking about abuse. But
I'll say this, and I'll kind of give all the comments this sort of generalized scrubbing, which is, if you think your child's being abused, then you need to go to court and do something about it. And there's been plenty of times when I've taken my clients to court to prove that their children are being abused. That's what we're here to do. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever downplayed my clients' allegations that their children were being abused. And so I guess there's just this disconnect, right? Of, it's not, I'm not downplaying it. I'm not saying your child's not being abused. So we have to go prove it.
right.
Right. And that's different, right? I think that's different. I also think too, by the way, the word toxic relationship is a little, that's a little buzzy as well. I think, you're in a toxic relationship probably because you've got two lawyers fighting over your kids.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a good relationship. And oftentimes, as I said before, I'll look at a client and be like, if you and your ex could co-parent, well, then we can move down the road and y'all could get out from underneath this. And I know it takes two to tango and all that, but I don't know. If we're involved, it's probably not a good situation to begin with. So,
What about this? I don't do this personally. However, if a child really feels like they don't want to be at the other parent's house, they should have to go. A lot of times there's a reason the kid didn't want to go. I speak from experience. I cried when I was made to go to my dad's because we weren't taken care of or fed or anything like that.
Yeah.
If your kid doesn't want to go, should they have to go? Yes. If your child is being abused or mistreated or not given basic necessities like food, clothing, and shelter, then you go to court and you change the order because it's not in the kid's best interest to go over there like that.
No, you're right. This happens a lot too, particularly in the state of Texas. You get to a space where people go on the Googles and they find out that, the kid or the child turns 12, can go talk to the judge and tell them what their preference is or where they want to go live, which parent they want to go live with. So this becomes this fight. One, it becomes a race to 12.
Right.
And then it becomes sort of the Wild West after that,
Because how do you convince a 12-year-old? Like, let's say that we've got two homes where things are generally fine, right? You might have a narcissistic parent or a parent that doesn't co-parent well, whatever it is. But generally speaking, the child is cared for in both homes, and you want to convince the 12-year-old to come live with you for whatever reason. How do you convince a 12-year-old? I know our oldest is only 8, but how would you convince him to do something?
Well, it's the conundrum that exists in almost every co-parenting relationship, which is you've got one parent that's going to be the authoritative disciplinarian,
the one that has rules,
and then the other parent who's sort of like less than that, right? And less than that can be anything, right? It can be. I'm not saying it's, you just got it wide open over there with ponies and acrobats and PS5 and Xbox. I don't know. Do the kids still play video games? But I think it's a thing. As soon as one parent is less strict, less demanding, less sort of holding the children accountable for what they need to be doing,
the kid's going to choose the path of least resistance. Hell, I would choose it. If you told me
right.
today I did not have to go to work if I didn't want to, my ass would be in bed.
Well, and I think that's the thing too. Like, I think kids, first of all, kids see it. This starts, this starts long before the divorce happens or the custody order gets put in place. The children see it.
Right.
And they've seen it for years.
Because it's not a new dynamic between the parents.
Right.
It's generally always been the dynamic,
right.
but now these dynamics are happening in separate homes.
And let's be real frank about it. I don't know why Frank's involved.
I don't know.
He's a good guy.
I thought so too.
But that's funny, huh? Guys, he couldn't even make it through that. He just, I don't know. Maybe his friend's Frank. It's not just the parents. It's not just the parents. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many times you get into a case and you see it where before the divorce happens, before the legal action happens, you got two parents, two sets of grandparents, two sets of aunts and uncles, whatever it is, and they
just don't think you're supposed to talk about our family.
And they are the ones. It's not just the parents, but it's the family, the extended family, that are driving this space. And the children learn, when I go over here, I get whatever I want. And it might even be with their own, with the parents, right? The paternal, the father and the paternal grandparents. And when the paternal grandparents get the kid, right, then all of a sudden, oh, don't worry about it. You can do whatever you want over here or whatever. Oh, yeah, you don't have to do that. And I get that's what grandparents are for. Trust me, I got it, all of the stuff. But this is learned behavior. And the children are learning, and they're sponges. They're eating that up. So then when we get into this legal battle, then the children, they're going to use the tools they've learned. They've got it. They know, hey, I'm going to go over here to dad's, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go over to mom's and say this. I'm going to go over to, and start pitting them against each other. And that is when it becomes so difficult. And to go back to what we were talking about, once a child has learned this, and you have two co-parents who are not able to effectively co-parent, doesn't mean that you can
best friends, that they agree on everything.
That you got to agree on everything. Doesn't mean that you go do dinners and your birthday parties. It doesn't mean all that. But what it means is that once the kid knows that I can conquer, I can divide and conquer, they're going to do it. Now, to go back to that comment, the comment was, can the child make this decision, right? Basically what's going on. And yes, you're 100% right. The child can make the decision. And by the way, and I'm just going to, y'all can get mad at me. I don't care. If you're going to let little Johnny or little Susie make this decision, you don't need lawyers. Just let little Johnny and Susie run y'all's life. And
that's all I can think.
You and your co-parent are going to basically be at little Johnny and little Susie's beck and call, and whatever he or she wants, and y'all gonna do it that way. You don't need to pay me.
Right.
You don't need to pay a lawyer. You don't need to go in front of a judge. You're just gonna let little Johnny and little Susie do it.
Just ask the kids and do that.
Yeah, just go do that. And by the way, if that was up to that, my children would just eat whatever they want, stay up all night, not do anything, not go to school, and it's fine. And maybe little Johnny and Susie, maybe they can figure it out. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have some input. I'm not saying they shouldn't be able to articulate if someone's hurting them, if something's going on. And they have opinions and they should be able to do it. But as parents, you're going to have to like try to, at some point, try to listen to your child, validate those feelings, but at the same time, help them understand that you don't just get to pick and choose what you're going to do. Because no offense, that's not how the world works, boys and girls.
Well, and it's not.
It's just not.
We're supposed to raise little productive members of society, and if they get to do what they want, we're just raising a bunch of terrorists.
Oh, well, and I'll say this: you can't tell me that the world is a space where you get to pick and choose what you want on a day-to-day basis.
I don't get to do it.
If that's the way the world, if that's the way we're doing this, I'm out.
You're gonna go do something.
I'm out. I ain't messing with y'all kids. I ain't messing with y'all. I'm serious. I'm out. I need more drink too, but.
You
No?
drink it so fast. Here's a good one. If only the courts would uphold the law in custody cases in our county. I agree.
I agree, right? Well,
It would make things a lot easier if we could have reasonable expectations about what a judge is going to do. So I agree.
I'll say this too. By the way, the biggest thing I've said it. I've said it in the middle of a jury trial. I've said it. And I say it all the time. The rules that I didn't come up with them. Okay, no one asked me what I thought the rules should be. The rules are already there. The legislature put them in place. They thought they were so important. They wrote them down and put them in a book. Then they made it to where we can all have the same book. But you'd be surprised when you go county to county, court to court, whatever it is. Sometimes we follow them here. Sometimes we follow them there. We don't know. And so I agree. Like Jay
I
said,
have been told in court by a judge, and I won't get any more specific than that. Counselor, I know what the law says, but we are not doing that in here today. And that happened when I was a baby lawyer. And I'm sure you remember me coming home and crying about it because I was devastated. I was like, then what are we doing? How do we know what the rules are and how do I prepare?
But what I will say this, that is the fun part about family law, in my opinion. So I agree. I'd like to, this is the rule, let's follow the rule. But the courts, and particularly judges, and I use this all the time, have the D word.
Discretion.
And that discretion allows them to do things which the court believes, the judge believes is in the best interest of the child. And that's go back to that other comment, right? We're talking about, everyone's doing this allegedly under the best interest. Yes, that's exactly right. That's what the standard is. You're supposed to be doing it in the best interest of the child. And the court has to have leeway to do it. So I get we can't follow the rules rigidly, right? Is that a word? Did I make that one up? Rigidly?
I think that's a word.
That's a word. Is that a word? He's getting this. You'll need a dictionary, not a thesaurus. You've got the wrong book. Josh is working on it, though. He's Googling the thesaurus right now. But no, seriously, like at some point, the court's got to have some discretion to do it. But you've got to have reasonable expectations so you know what's going on. It's very difficult when you go in and say, well, the law says this, so we're going to go to court and do this. And then you get in there and then it doesn't happen. You're like, well.
Not sure why you hired me. I don't know what we're doing today.
It's difficult.
I was a child of divorce, and neither parent tried to do anything to encourage or discourage going to the other parent's house, but I absolutely didn't want to go and had to anyway.
And I think that happens. And I'll say this: I don't think you have to have a bad actor on the other side for the child to not want to go. Sometimes the kid just doesn't want to go. And I'll be honest with you: I've seen some custody orders where we're flip flopping the kid basically every 2 days, and that sounds terrible to me.
Right?
I'm an adult.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like if you told me I had to go stay over here for 2 days and then come back over here for 2 days, and every time I switched, there was a whole new set of rules and that's difficult for anybody.
It's
right?
hard, but so we've got parental autonomy, right? We don't want Big Brother, the government, coming in and telling us what we can and can't do as parents. And to a certain extent, we have that ability when we're together, but when we split up, now we have to have certain rules about, who's going to spend time with the amazing child.
Oh, I see what you did there.
See, I didn't do the
I see what you did.
Who's going
spend
to
time?
Spend time with the child, and because you can't come to an agreement on stuff. So what else are you going to do? And you didn't want to go. It doesn't sound like anything terrible happened. Maybe that's just a therapy situation. We'll move on.
But I think it's a space where, like, I get it. It's hard for kids to go back and forth, and I think that's why parents should help encourage going back and forth and try to work together to make it as easy as possible for the kiddos. Also comes back to this, man. We talk about it all the time, right? Quality versus quantity, right? Having little Johnny and little Susie 50% of the time, but if it's really not quality time, is it great? Probably not, right? Maybe we come up with a situation that's best for the kiddo. I don't know. That's just me.
All right, we're going to do one more.
All right.
In 2012, a study was done in split custody in high conflict cases, i.e. DV, which I assume is domestic violence cases. The children experienced adjustment problems. Are parents really influencing children? The courts are not figuring it out. This is a complex situation.
It is. It's a complex situation, but I'll just say this real fast. It's a complex situation. Child custody litigation is complex. And let's just be real straightforward. A lot of times it's real complex, and you're going to get an hour to 2 hours in front of a human to make this decision.
Well, and this is basically saying that, in high conflict cases, the kids experience adjustment problems. Well, in most divorce cases or custody cases, everyone's dealing with adjustment problems, right?
Not just the kids.
No, the parents are dealing with the death of the marriage, right? And the death of the future as they expected it to be. And it's hard. It's emotional. There are going to be adjustment issues. But I think the important part here is recognizing that there are going to be adjustment issues, trying to minimize the issues for the children, let the children be children, and handle the adult issues between the adults.
I was in a judge's chamber one time about 5-6 years ago, and the judge was trying to come up with a solution for a parent, because the parent was having some mental health issues, adjustment issues, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
And we went in chambers. The court asked us to come in chambers, and the judge was very transparent. And the judge said, I don't want to keep the children from this parent, but this parent's making bad choices because they haven't adjusted to the new norm, new reality. And sort of said, "What do y'all, what resources do we have?" And I thought it was a transparent, I thought it was a well thought out attempt to try to address a situation, as opposed to just saying, "Well, here's this is what we're going to do, and this is it." Kind of walk down the road, which sometimes is fine. And I remember sitting there and kind of going back and forth, and we talked about therapy, and we talked about things and resources to get that parent get some help to deal with the adjustment so they can be with their children. Mm-hmm. And the problem was that the therapy piece was expensive. We're talking about $150, $200, $250 a session, right? And this parent didn't have it. And this parent had some let's just say, self-medicating.
Okay.
And it
costs money too, right?
It does, but it became plainly evident that booze cost about $20 and doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
Yeah.
Therapy costs a lot more, 10x in some instances. Mm-hmm. And takes a whole lot more to deal with. My point of that is, in some capacity, everyone's going to go through adjustment. Not everyone needs to go. Just because you got a divorce doesn't mean everyone's got to go to therapy and all the stuff. Certain people do, certain people don't. But if we had better resources for that.
Oh, I agree.
Then
But it's choices too.
It is choices. And one of the choices becomes, alcohol, adult beverages, booze, whatever you want to call it, and other stuff. But at just some point, right, as a parent, as co-parents, you got to deal with your own stuff. The kids have to deal with their stuff. You have to help the kids deal with their stuff because you got to set aside your stuff in order to be able to do that, or at least be good at it. So, it's a lot. There's a lot going on. You know, the truest thing that was said in those comments that we just read is that it's complex.
It's extremely complex.
Yeah. If it was straightforward, we just use ChatGPT.
I think we're going to talk about that on another show. Don't start yet.
Don't do that yet. All
That
right,
was a teaser, though. That was good.
See what I did there? Did I do that right? All right, I got a thumbs up. Guys, we appreciate it. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with us today. That is episode 36 here of Cases and Cocktails, and stay tuned for more awesome content.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next Friday.